Hello and welcome to this second lecture in this section on distribution design and development in this course on marketing strategy excellence. So in this module we've been helping you understand in depth how can you design and develop distribution for your offerings. And we talked in the last lecture about the distribution channels. And in this lecture, we will talk about the decisions that you will need to make in managing the channels, right? So let's start looking at what are the decisions involved in managing channels. Now, as you see here on your screen, there are five key decisions that you need to consider. One is you need to start with establishing the channel objective. What is it that your channel should achieve? Then identify and evaluate the major channel alternatives. Choose a channel system between those various alternatives and then select, train and motivate individual and intermediaries in that channel system. And then on an ongoing basis, modify channel designs and arrangements over a period of time. So these are the channel management decisions. Let's take a look at each of this in some more details, right? Ready for that? Great. So let us look at how can you go about establishing channel objectives, the first step. So first, in terms of what kind of channel objective should you set? So you can set channel objective in terms of the number and kind of customers to reach in line with your marketing strategy, service output levels that you need to provide, and cost and support level. So the three broad bases on which you can set your channel objective. Now, when you set these objectives, you can also identify several market segments that's based on the required service levels and choose the best channel for that. The channel objectives depend on the product characteristics. If you have fresh vegetables, then your service objective, your channel objectives would be very different versus a frozen product. And you must adapt your channel objectives to the larger environment as well as the broader marketing strategy that you have set, the target segment, the value proposition that you want to reach. Your channel objectives must support that broader strategy that you had set right in the beginning. And you also need to consider the legal regulations and any restrictions that may be there. Right. Having identified or set your channel objective, the second step is in identify major channel alternative, right? And based on number of intermediaries, you have four core strategies for distribution that's available to you: exclusive distribution, selective, intensive, and franchising. So let's look at each of these, what these are and where they could be suitable. Exclusive distribution is where you severely limit the number of intermediaries. You provide very small numbers of exclusivity is the central theme of your distribution. And when is it appropriate? When when you need more manageable and dedicated effort part of your resellers and close partnerships. So you need smaller numbers and you need close dedicated relationship with that. And this includes exclusive territorial agreements. So that's how the exclusive distribution happens. Example is Apple. Apple phones, iPhones, they have reasonably exclusive distribution because the product itself is exclusive. It is not meant for masses. So in line with the marketing strategy, they provide distribution to exclusive dealers in a city and to reach out to exclusive customers. Then the next level of distribution is a selective distribution. You have some but not all of the intermediaries carrying a particular product. Now, examples could be Raymond's distribution. Now, Raymond's has selective distribution. It will appoint its own showrooms or it will have arrangement with distributors to carry its products, and it includes retailers that compete for the same customers. So that's how the selective distribution is. Intensive distribution places an offering in as many outlets as possible. Hindustan Unilever or ITC has widest possible distribution following intensive distribution strategy, and it is suitable for products that consumers buy frequently on in a variety of locations. So convenience buying requires intensive distribution. The last kind of distribution strategy is franchising, in which a tightly knit group of enterprise whose systematic operations are planned and directed and controlled by the franchisor. An example is, of course, the KFC or the McDonald's. So where KFC and McDonald's will massively control us, very ferociously control the operations of the franchisee. Having looked at identified objectives and the overall strategy, you need to then select the members, which you can do individually, and there are many techniques. And once having selected the channel members, you need to motivate them. And how do you motivate the channel members? You determine the needs and wants and tailor your offerings to provide them with a superior value. You carefully implement training, marketing research, and other capability programs that can motivate these channel members. Communication and constant communication is a must to these intermediaries to keep them motivated. And you can draw on different kinds of powers to elicit cooperation. Coercive power, where you are a dominant player, you have an exclusive product, not many competitors, you can force the dealers to act the way. Reward power, where you provide suitable reward to your intermediaries, your distributors to get what you want. You can have legal power, you can have expert power, and you can have a referral power. So these are the different ways of motivating the channels. What are the kinds of channel partnerships? You can look at conventional channels, vertical integrated systems, or horizontal marketing system. The conventional channels consist of independent producer, independent wholesaler, and a retailer. So there are all three parties are independent. Each seeks to maximize its own profit, even if this goal reduces profit of the system as a whole. So each one works independently. Channel coordination happens when members are brought together to advance these goals of the channel. So one of the key challenge for the manufacturer or you would be to align all these different players in one direction that can maximize the profit and sales of the whole channel. The second one is a vertically integrated system in which you have a producer, wholesaler, and retailer acting as a unified system. One channel member, one channel captain who owns or franchises others or has so much power that they cooperate. So the manufacturer becomes the channel captain and then he or she leads the whole channel operations. Three types: corporate vertical marketing systems, administered vertical marketing system, and a contractual vertical marketing. So these are the three kinds of this. Then there is the third kind of channel partnership is a horizontal marketing system when two or more unrelated companies put together their resources or programs to exploit an emerging marketing opportunity. So two or more companies work together and use each other's channels to reach their customers in a better way. You need to evaluate the channel members regularly. So how can you evaluate channel members? So you must periodically do this evaluation by setting some standards and then measuring the performance against that. And these could be the parameters for this evaluation could be sales quota achievement. How much of the channel members achieve the sale versus the target that they set? What kind of average inventory levels are they keeping? What is the customer delivery time? How are their customer satisfaction? How are their treatment of damaged and lost goods? What is their cooperation in promotional and training program? Now these are evaluation is used to add or drop a individual channel member that meets or doesn't meet the need of the company to make the incremental analysis. And to do that, what you need to do is to ask what would be the firm's sale and profit be with or without this intermediary? And an answer is, if your profit is going to be better without the intermediary, you would then drop the channel member. Channel cooperation conflict is one of the key challenges you could face. So let's look at that. When does it occur? It occurs when one channel member's action prevents another from achieving the goals. Like you have two major retailers without territorial restrictions and they compete on prices in the common areas, and that hinders the company's goals. It is also caused by distributing offerings through different channels, right? Now, if you desire to sell directly to its customer, that can also be a source of a channel conflict, because if you are supplying to your customers directly like Dell does, and if you also have distributors, that could be a potential source of a conflict. And whole goal of a channel cooperation and conflict is to reduce this channel conflict by minimizing the friction between the different channel members. And these channel members could be at different levels or at the same level, different people. What is the nature of channel conflicts? Before we look at how can we manage these channel conflicts better, let's look at what are the nature of channel conflict. There are three types of channel conflict: horizontal, vertical, and multiple channels. Horizontal conflict occurs between the channel members at the same level: retailer to retailer, wholesaler to wholesaler, dealer to dealer, and this is very common. Vertical channel conflict occurs between the different levels, so between a wholesaler or a distributor and retailer, right? And this could happen on the terms of the trade or on the goals that each one of them pursues independently. Multiple conflict exists when manufacturer has established two or more channels that sells in the same market. So that is the nature of the channel conflicts. What are the causes of channel conflicts? Most common reasons are goal incompatibility. If your goals are not compatible, if you are following different goals, you would have different ways of doing things, different programs of implementation that could cause channel conflict. Differences in strategies and tactics. You might have common goals of achieving the sales, but one of the dealer might say, I'm going to go for price reduction. Another might say, I'm going to go for service, and in the same area. And that could be, so these differences in strategies and tactics could lead to conflicts. Power imbalance. A very powerful distributor versus a weaker distributor could lead to conflict, and unclear roles in what is your right as a distributor or a channel member could cause conflict. How can you manage these channel conflicts? Some of these can be constructive, but too much of a channel conflict is dysfunctional. So you must have some conflict to keep the competitive straight, but not too much. Now, the challenge is not to eliminate the channel conflict, but to manage better. And how can you do that? What are the mechanisms to effectively manage the conflicts? First, strategic justification. One, each member must justify in terms of the strategy. Why are they doing what they're doing? You could compensate them dually for different ways to align them and do different things. Superordinate goals are is a common way. You set goals that are common for everyone and they drive in the same direction. That can minimize the conflict. Joint membership. You could have forums in which the members join together and you can resolve them. You could have employees exchange between those channel members so that you understand each other's points of view. Co-optation. You can co-opt members to each other. Diplomacy, mediation, arbitration, and finally a legal recourse could be ways to manage the conflicts better. So having looked at what are the various channel management decisions and how do you make them, what do we do next? So in the next we will look at another important part or element of the distribution, which is managing market logistics, which includes planning the infrastructure, implementing and controlling the physical flows, etc., etc. Right? So thank you so much for watching this second lecture in distribution design and development section in this course on marketing strategy excellence. I hope you're continuing to learn new things, continuing to enjoy, and I do look forward to see you again in the next lecture.